Hey guys, this is Josh from What's It All About. This is my late grandfather's Baum. It was handed down to my late father, who in turn passed it on to me. It's nothing particularly special. You may think, oh, it's a Baum and Mercier, but it's actually Baum and Company, supposedly the UK importer for Longines, who also made their own watches. It's probably 60 years old plus. Vintage watches are special due to their history and the significance, let alone when one is a family heirloom. Now, vintage styled new watches are crazy popular at the moment. It's all the craze for new models, and it's been that way for a few years now. But where do you go to get a proper, legit vintage watch? You could try eBay, of course, or even local car boots, or even try your luck at a charity shop. Or you can try Chrono24. I must admit, I've come into this video with relative naivety. I'm well aware that Chrono24 is an online watch marketplace, but that's pretty much it. I'm not sure how trusted it could be, or whether there's any sort of protection for buyers, or even just how to use it. So let's go on a journey together. By the way, I was asked to do this article and video by Chrono24, so it comes in conjunction with them. It could be sponsored by them, if you will. So let's first of all discuss Chrono24 themselves, and then we can move into the sellers and using it as a buyer, in particular of used or vintage watches. Let's have a look. First things first, the site was launched in 2003, so they have a lot of data. They use this information to determine suitable prices for your watch based on the condition. They're taking the lead in innovative watch-based technology too. They have something called a watch scanner, and it's pretty cool. You take a picture and it tells you, or it tries to guess what watch it is. And the valuation service has that epic amount of data behind it. The watch collection area is where you can add your own watches and see how the prices fluctuate with a live valuation. For certain models for sale, there's also a try-it-on feature where you can specify your wrist size and it will show you roughly how the watch will look on your wrist. Well, how are Chrono24 as a company then? Can they be trusted? It's always worth checking Trustpilot first and foremost, and to be honest, it's very impressive. At the time of recording, Chrono24.com has 4.8 out of 5 with 17,500 reviews, and Chrono24.co.uk has 4.8 out of 5 from 5,100 reviews. So they seem to have quite a following and plenty of positive reviews. What else can they offer? Their buyer protection looks to be quite in-depth and thorough, ensuring buyers have a seamless process. This includes a few things, but a couple in particular I thought were interesting. Firstly, an escrow account. So there's no way of a seller getting your money and doing a runner by not sending the watch. Your money goes into an escrow account held independently, which is only released to the seller once you confirm you're happy with the watch. You also get an authenticity guarantee. So if you have any doubts whether or not a watch is genuine, Chrono24 will get it checked for you. And if it's not, you'll get a refund. Now, you can supposedly also send a watch back for a refund quite easily if the watch doesn't match the description. I'm impressed so far. I've done my due diligence and I'm satisfied that Chrono24 seems to be a pretty great place to buy watches. I'm protected as a buyer in multiple ways, so I'm happier to hand over my hard-earned cash. Now what? Well, now you look through the site and buy a watch. But with nearly 500,000 watches on there, it can be a minefield. And whilst Chrono24 do a lot, they are still limited as, you know, it's just an online service after all. Unfortunately, it can't completely stop unscrupulous individuals trying to take advantage or sell watches they don't have, or the watch isn't in the condition stated. So I've put together a list of recommendations, a guide on buying used and vintage watches on Chrono24. My first point is this: do plenty of research. As with every major purchase, watch or not, you should research it until your eyes fall out. If you're after a specific watch, search for known issues with it. It could be the movement is susceptible to a certain fault, or part of it is particularly prone to damage. Once you know the ins and outs of a model, you know what to look out for on used pieces. You can ask the seller about those specifics, even ask for more pictures to satisfy you. Now this brings us on to my next point. Ask for unique additional pictures of the watch. Chrono24 only allow a certain number of pictures to be uploaded to an advert, so ask for more. If you want confirmation that the seller is legit, ask for the watch to be set to a specific time in front of today's newspaper. It could be a random time, or in front of a website, if not many people buy newspapers nowadays, in front of a website showing the date and time, such as time.is. Now this also takes us on to my next point. Always buy the seller first. A legit seller won't have any issues with answering your questions or sending additional pictures. You'll be able to tell a lot about the buyer by their communication. If they're a nightmare to deal with, could be a sign that the purchase isn't going to go well. If it's a store or company selling the watch, have a Google and check reviews of the company to see if they are reputable and good to use. My next point is don't fall foul of it's too good to be true, because it probably is. The people who are selling on Chrono24 tend to know what they're doing and know how to price their watches too. If an absolute bargain is what you're looking for, then you're better off scouring the local car boot sales and going through all the charity shops in the hope of a little old withering lady who tries to sell her dear husband's old Rolex sub for £20. And I'm sure, like me, you've all dreamed of that, haven't you? My next point is don't get too hung up on box and papers. The watch is all that matters. Do you actually care about the box? Will it just be chucked into the loft as soon as you get the watch? For watches that would still be in guarantee, then papers definitely make sense. But if it's a really old watch or a watch out of warranty, do you need to pay extra? You could end up paying the same amount for a great watch with no box or papers as a watch in not as good a condition that does come with box and papers. It is a tricky balance, but just something to think about. My next point is inquire about any service history. Just like a car, regular maintenance on a mechanical machine will prolong its life. If the advert doesn't state anything, simply ask the question. You know, it might have had a service 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's a long time ago, but at least it's had one, and at least you know that it has had one too. So there we go. Those were my top tips for buying off Chrono24, as well as the discovery of the platform. As with any major purchase, just take your time, be cautious and be thorough, and you'll end up with a watch you can treasure for a very long time, even pass on to the next generation. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment below as well, please. Let me know what your thoughts on Chrono24 are, if you've got any experience, and also if you have any hints and tips for buying used or vintage watches. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.